Right.
I see.
Okay, I'm gonna as well just go over that. Let me just go over it real quick. Wait, where are we at?
What are we discussing?
We're usually hit the lights for me, just probably like the first 3 on my side.
I'm trying to do my families, guys. 3 families.
Okay, so looking at this, these were the things that you were graded for. These 4 types, okay, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, these are worth 5 points each. Okay, if you had each of these things created and they worked, right? So like here, you open that up, it says open with stone. When I click on open with stone, your fireplace is open and there is a stone. Okay, so 5 points each for these. And then it was like, Andrew, help me out, it was like 2 points or something, and then 5 points, and then there was one for,
Like all around 2 or less, so
yeah.
the big killer
The big
was
thing
the
was
four,
having the
the
4 types. So if you didn't have your 4 types, then you got marked down for those. But everything I have listed on these sheets is what you're gonna be graded for, okay? So like, for the cabinet,
right?
Did you get it figured out, you know?
No, I did it for the second one.
Okay, I just want to make sure you grasp.
Yeah.
okay, so for the casework here, you're gonna be graded on, do you have 2 types? One that's 24 and one that's 48.
Yeah.
Right, okay. Then we're gonna be graded on, do you have an instance parameter for this material? Then, do you have an angle parameter? And then do you have a countertop profile? Okay?
By profile, it says sweep in there. What if I did an extrude and still locked it?
Do you have to create a
It
program?
was the same exact thing. Literally same exact
It
thing.
doesn't say to lock the whole
You
thing,
have
it says
to-
just
Do
sweep
you
it.
have to lock the extrusion then in order when you go from 48 to 24?
Yeah, I locked it to that one end so that when you do switch it to 24, it drags it over. I got it to work out great.
Do you have to,
She
create
needs
a
a system.
profile?
Say that again?
You just draw.
I'll put that,
You have to
you
create
like,
like a
I'm gonna go
profile
see
look
the.
and keep it.
You can just draw this fine. But if you do it separate, then that's even better. Okay, drawers. We'll see, we'll see.
Okay.
Okay, table and drawer are modeled, okay? 2 different sizes, so that means that you need to have the height parameter, right? Material parameter, once added to the family, we lock the reference line, that creates the poles. Obviously, the poles are gonna be null and void, not very many people figured that out, and that's okay.
I did it.
So, the handle, modeled a very detailed handle, and then it has a material parameter. If you have multiple materials, you can have multiple material parameters, that's fine, but you at least needed 1. Okay, and then these general requirements are something that, again, you're gonna be seeing on most things, but all those things listed under there are the things you're graded on. If you don't have those things, then you miss those points. Okay, Lee?
I got everything on there. It's not a sweep, but I do have countertop on there, and it locks and it moves.
All right. Countertop profiles is sweet. I mean, I don't know. I don't write this for my health. Okay.
So this is a question.
Hit me.
Are you gonna like go over why the polls didn't work?
Yeah, I mean,
No,
maybe later I can. I
Okay.
wanna go through our this week's assignment, but I can totally review that maybe on Thursday if we have time.
Okay, yeah.
Because, I mean, it kinda sucks that it didn't work, but that's literally all you have to do. But, yeah.
It works. I did it.
You didn't?
You know, I was dealing with it something like 3 hours, seriously. But yeah, you do the line, then you set the plane, but you have to choose a cabinet plane, not a drawer plane, and then you do it, and it works.
Oh,
Oh.
cabinet.
Okay, there we go. Cabinet plane
Yeah,
versus drawer plane.
you see, they share the same plane, the drawer
Have you
and the
seen
cabinet,
your video?
but
You
do
did
not click on the drawer.
with the
Click
drawer plane?
in the cabinet.
When you're doing the example.
When you
did it
place the
in that
line in the
project.
I mean, that works. I was almost crying when I discovered
Yeah, I
it.
worked on it like
It
all
works.
morning.
It
Okay.
works.
So I
You're
did it off
probably
your
right.
video.
Because I knew, I was like, you literally is one dimension, so you're probably right. I got it on the the drawer instead of the cabinet.
No, do it in the cabinet.
Well, that's what I mean. I put it on the drawer instead of on the cabinet.
Yeah. This is the
Okay, well, then
solution.
cool, there you go. Put it on the cabinet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now we're gonna get deducted, Pablo.
Yes,
I
No,
was,
I promise,
and
I promise.
I did it 200 times until I don't know what did I do,
Yeah.
and
And
it
I was
works.
talking to the guys at the office about this too. I'm like, sometimes I feel like I'm such a noob, but at the same time, it's like you gotta work through it, see if it breaks, and try it again. And the things that you say, it does work. I promise it works, but then like it didn't, and then you have to try it. Like it. Yeah. because it's not an exact science.
Yeah, the annotation goes to the
Yeah.
drawer, but you need to choose
You need to
the
use
cabinet
cabinet.
plane. Yeah,
There we go.
and the next time you can call me or you can hire me in the office, no problem.
Yeah, you'll be my TA next semester. No, I just found out too that like they're doing Revit 2 in the falls now, and then Revit 1 in the spring. From now on, so if you need to retake it, Revit 2 next semester.
What? I feel like that
Wait,
would
how's that?
be.
Are you planning for a failure already? Come on now.
No, I'm just saying because like the ones that have left are doing that. Oh, speaking of that, Maddie is excused, and then Ellie is also excused.
Okay, cool.
I feel like I'd lose a lot over the
There's too
summer.
many more extremes.
That's what I said, but gotta do what you gotta do. Okay,
Cool. Quickly. Sticky humor on the cap.
so we only have one more week of families. Our family's fun.
Can we just do them the whole time?
Yeah, I'd prefer that.
The whole
I
time.
like building like just
I would
stuff,
like
not just.
I agree. I have no problem with this. The part one.
No, there's so much other cool stuff I can't wait to show you. But families are my favorite, that's why they're first, and that's why there's 3 weeks of them. Okay, so this is our final week of families, and instead of one family, I'm hitting you with 3 of them. Now I will walk through like kind of how they work, but this one I really want you to try to figure out most of it on your own, knowing what you know about what we know, okay? Now, it is due again in a week before class.
I made one of those already.
Yeah, Revit
Okay,
1.
so these general requirements, again, they're exactly the same from the last assignment. Now, the bike rack. What are the differences between our Revit 1 bike racks and our Revit 2 bike
I
racks?
see some little plates down below.
So that's exactly.
Technically, those plates were there in Revit 1.
Well, I didn't do them. So
That's
I'll have to
exactly
add this
what
one.
mine looks like already.
Okay.
Like 100%.
No, it should, but can it do this? Does it have 2 material choices?
Yes.
You didn't know how to do that
Right
on
here,
your first
1
assignment.
foot and 14 distance between each pipe. So right here, in between each pipe, needs to be 1 foot and 14 inches. Now, when I say to do this, right, it's gonna be a type parameter. So when you click on the type and it says 1 foot, your bike rack does this, where everyone is 1 foot. Then when it says 14, it does this, or sorry, out larger, right? Goes larger to 14 inches, and then the space is all in between. You're not building 2 separate bike racks, you're building 1 bike rack
I got that
that
figured
has a
out.
dimensional
Okay.
parameter that's gonna change size. Now, instance parameter for height, as in the top of this can be adjusted. Now you have to be careful with that because you don't want your bike rack to do this. You want your bike rack to do this. Okay?
So you
Wait, do
just
that,
lock
do
it.
that again? I'm serious.
You don't want your bike rack to be like an accordion. You
Oh,
want your
you
bike
know.
rack to just go up.
So you just lock it and just.
Maybe. You'll see. Okay, instance parameter for pipe diameter. Okay, which means that this pipe will change, this pipe will change, this pipe, all these curves will change, and this one will change. Okay? Does that make sense?
All with one, or can you have different
One.
ones for each?
No, it's one.
Okay, well then
Pipe
you just gotta
parameter.
select them all and
It's
then.
one big loft, man.
Yeah, it's not a loft, it's a suite.
Sweet, that's it. Same deal. Keep talking.
Okay, so sweet. Now, we've been doing most of our parameters like right there in the view, right? When you're in right view, front view, left view, wherever, right? But some of these you have to do while you're inside drawing them, right? Where your pink lines are. Your parameters are gonna have to go in there. Which means when you go outside, right, you click the green check mark and you go out, you won't see the parameter. Does that make sense? Okay, you'd have to actually go to edit type in order to actually visually see it. Okay, so that's the difference that you'll kind of see here. Now, if you get this thing to work properly, you're gonna have fun with this one, I promise.
So only the bottom two are.
It totally works, it totally works.
So the 1 and 14, those are not instance parameters, those are
Those are
type
types,
parameters.
because you have 2 types, one that's
Oh,
1 foot,
yeah.
and then one that's 14 inches,
Oh.
so 2 types.
Yeah.
And then the rest of them should be instance parameters.
And we can pick whatever material.
Yes. It's like
We
I'm
don't
so
have
bad saying
materials,
that.
man.
Yes.
It doesn't
Oh
matter.
yeah, I'm gonna go for a gray.
Well, when I grade them, like the material should work.
Yeah.
on mine.
Good.
Okay, so 2 material choices, distance, and make sure that you're building this thing, well, if I did I do this? I might have to just. get there in a second. So this one you can build in a generic model, okay, but make sure that your setting is typed to like specialty equipment or something. Okay, this can be a generic model. Okay, this next one here, wall-mounted TV. Wall-mounted TV. Now, the biggest note is like right here. It is okay to use simple geometry for both the TV and the wall bracket, because I don't really care about the geometry of how it looks. What I care about is if we have two types created, a 42-inch and a 60-inch. How do you measure a TV?
Diagonal.
Diagonal. Interesting, interesting.
What?
Please do line and measure?
You'll see.
Oh, no,
Okay.
you just draw out a square. and then
42
you put that-
inches and a 60-inch TV, okay? Two types of TVs. We need instance parameter for has wall bracket, angle parameter for the tilt, and then we need the screen image. Now there's two dots there. Then an electrical connector. Now that's that little guy right there. Okay, the electrical connector allows us to connect it to a circuit in the house. Now again, we'll go through this, it's okay. You're like freaking out, I see you.
I've tried to do the electrical stuff on Revit before, and it didn't work.
Yeah. So we're just putting the conduit in it, or like the connector piece, because then like when you put it into your project, then you can like connect it to a circuit. Anyway, so again, it's okay to use the simple geometry. If it has wall bracket not selected, then the TV should be flat against the wall. Okay, we don't want any angled TVs against a wall with no bracket. So what does that tell us?
You have to have it, tight.
I mean, you're probably on the right track. You're
I-
probably
I-
on the right track. Elizabeth, what do you think? If we have an angle parameter here, and we have a wall bracket here, and then the wall over here, and we need this TV to do this, with no wall bracket, what do we have to do?
Visibility
For,
for the bracket. The
okay,
bracket
visibility for the bracket,
Yeah.
what happens to the TV?
goes to the angle is zero angle to the wall.
Okay, so the angle has to be 0, but we're only creating two types of TV. How do we make this work? Where if I uncheck a box, the other thing will, say that again?
Formula?
No. If I uncheck one box and it does something to another
Damn
thing.
equation.
Yes, okay, the equation thing. Now, what I'm gonna do later is I'm actually gonna post these equations for you. Like, first I want you to figure them out, try to see if you can do it, but then I will post them, okay? And what I do is I open up the type parameters thing box, and then I do a little drop down and you can see all the parameters. But I really want you to try first, so I probably won't even post until Saturday, okay? And then you can go in and change yours to mine.
So
Okay.
the two types, like the 40, okay. So the instance parameters aren't necessarily associated with the types. Like 42 isn't going to be at 0 and 60 is going to be at a 30-degree angle.
Right,
Okay.
because the two types just create two separate types of TVs, but then instance-wise, I could have 10 TVs in my house that are those two sizes and be able to change all these
Yeah.
things per 10.
Okay, cool. I got
Yeah.
it.
Okay, so, right here, you'll need to paint the surface with a material parameter. This thing right here. So we all know how to paint things, right? Like when you're like clicking on the surface to add the material. But we need to set it to an instance, and this new material that you create is going to be your image. So what you do is you get an image, and you can have fun with this. Nothing disturbing or, or, MSU protocol policies apply here, okay? But any image that you would like, I did me and my dog on one, but you like paint that material on there and then you see your image. Now, how you have to adjust these images, and it gets you kind of into how the images work a little bit more, but you don't want to see your image tiled. You want your image to fit the space. Okay? So that's another one you gotta figure out. Right here, this family should be built off a generic model face-based template. Okay, face-based template. If you don't have access to the face-based template, I'm gonna find it here in 2 shakes and put it up on D2L. Okay, so then you can start from that one. What's the difference between a face-based template and a generic model template?
This is 2D. This is a 2D, just
Well,
a plane, no?
most of the ones we've been starting in, like when we build all these things, are just generic model,
Okay.
right? So it's just reference level, front, top, right, left.
Okay.
But this is a face-based template.
So it's sort of like the face of the wall instead of being based off of a reference line.
X-nay the wall. Say that again without wall.
gonna be based off of a face instead of the reference line?
Good. So this is a wall, right? A face can technically be any direction. Okay, it's a face-based template. So technically, when you open up this face-based template, you're gonna just see a flat board at the bottom. And you build your TV on that flat board. So you're not building your TV up here, okay?
Why not everything that way?
Hmm?
Like, why not everything that way, like the handle? Because then the handle could have been applied to like any surface.
Yeah, totally
instead
could
of-
have. Order of operations here, man. We gotta crawl before we can walk, before we can run.
I just set up
Okay.
a TV on this one.
Well, she hasn't even finished giving instructions.
Yeah.
So,
It does say.
Right here, these two little dot thingies were down here for image may have to be uploaded, and it will have to be uploaded, okay? Set it to an easy file path. So when you're doing it, navigate to your desktop. Because like when you know when you put in an image and you set it on your desktop, in Revit you can navigate to it and say, hey, this image is on my desktop. So when you send it to me, I take your image, I put it on my desktop, I open up your file, and it will read your image on my desktop. Does that make sense? Okay, cool. And yeah, so again, pick whatever image, but be good about it. So there's the wall-mounted TV. Now this last one, I think is the most fun, but it is also one of the most challenging. Okay? So, it's a garage door. Now, you can model this garage door. It doesn't have to be different sizes, we've done that enough, right? We've done heights and widths and depths, we don't need to do that, that's no fun. So, we're gonna make it a 9x8, okay? Plan view should not show geometry. Plan view, okay? So when I look at my plan view and it's in a project, all I wanna see is I wanna see hidden lines for the tracks, okay? And then like a solid box for the door. And that's all I wanna see. Whatever you do for your door, if you add trim, windows, collage, barn door, artwork, whatever you add to your garage door on top of that, that's cool, as long as it's visibly set to not be able to see in plan. Okay, all I want to see is just the two rails, okay, and then the one masking region right here, masking region that's going to show the box, okay, for the actual door. So here we're going to use generic model wall-based template. Why would I use a wall-based versus a face-based versus a generic model for a garage door?
Because it cuts hole in the wall.
you know, put it on the floor, the door.
That was the correct answer, because it cuts a hole, okay? Because it cuts a hole. A wall-based one, when we do this and you build this garage door, it's gonna cut a hole inside your wall. Face-based things, we'd have to do a whole nother step to make a wall, to make it open, okay? Does this make sense? Now again, if you can't find the wall-based template, I'm gonna get it here in a minute and put it on D12. Then we change the category to door. Now, do not start from a door template. Please don't start from a door template. There's reasons for that, okay? It adds all these other things and trim and all these other parameters in there that we don't want. Okay, so just do a wall-based template, generic model, and then change it to category door. Now, the particular challenge about this family is I'd like you to add a pull grip. This time the pull grips will work. Okay, I promise. So I'd like you to add a pull grip that defaults at the bottom of the door. As you open that grip, okay, and you move it up and down, each of the panels are going to turn off or move up and open. Okay, this will give the appearance that the door is opening.
So it's just gonna dissolve as you're raising the door.
Yeah. Okay, so this is kind of what we want here. Again, this is super basic, very generic. I just added like little holes here in the panels. You can do whatever. You can create whatever kind of garage door style you want. You have to have 4, okay? 4 panels as it goes up. If you add more than that, it's just more parameters and more problems. If you have less than that, then it just doesn't look good and it wasn't worth the time. Okay, 4. So view from the outside, inside, plan view. See how we have just a box and our hidden line walls. Track system, you gotta model that in. How do we model a track system? Good, very good. Okay, sweep, so you make sure you have your reference lines. And then just sweep it along there. So, let me open up.
Steer to the side, yeah. Like I did code. Doing it always difficult.
Did you, Andrew, your garage door is good, right?
Goats. Ryan,
Okay, I'm
feel
gonna open up
your
Andrew's garage door.
Didn't even communicate some of those.
pretty new.
Yeah, see here how I uploaded TV image to go with the TV? Okay.
Excuse me.
So when we see this garage door here, it says garage level. Okay, so when you look at the garage door, look at the back.
No, the door's going in.
That's correct.
Andrew, where's your poles?
I swear it's there.
That's true, you didn't have to do
It's
them.
been hours.
That's what I'm saying about my cabinet too.
Yeah, I don't see your pole.
Better go to the battery studio. Just kidding. Please don't help me.
You just like,
Do you have yours up there?
Is it possibly an old version of it? Look at my.
No, your pole should have been right here.
Yeah, there are poles on it. Set it to, I don't know, close it a little and then see if it shows up.
Close one.
Well, like make it, set the parameter to shut it a little.
I know, but I don't want to put it right here.
I know.
Okay.
really?
Well, I don't want to just, I don't
Well,
want to
she
share
doesn't
your
want to
trade
show us the
secrets.
dings. 'cause
Yeah, that was
she's-
hours of work.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, because you have them all set to,
She's sneaky.
Don't worry, I'll just YouTube it.
yeah, no, there's still no pole.
Oh, this is playing.
I swear it did. It does work that way. I'm gonna find it.
No, it's really like the coolest thing when you get it to work.
When is the keyword?
It is.
It is 100% the keyword there.
When
Thank
you get to work.
Like, when we take a decent break and when is the screw gonna come on?
Oh, good move.
Sure, I'm trying to think of
I gotta
anything
do
else
garage
that
door
the
for
garage
work
door.
in SolidWorks, but it's like a little 1-inch panel. So it's like an idea, like, and we actually wanna try to get it to like curl up and wrap around the bottom drum and like fully like that. I'm not 100% looking forward to it, but.
Why? All you gotta do is just keep copying.
It's just the
Sitting in.
mating because it,
Yeah,
it
the
gets
mating.
bigger, cause you gotta do like a spiral, like
Mhm.
guided, like,
No, I get what you're saying. Yeah, it's gonna be rough on that aspect, but creating the door itself.
door's nothing, I
Yeah.
mean, it's basically one thing.
And then
It's
just
hard to
cut
one
it,
thing,
yeah.
yeah. That part I'm not concerned
Yeah.
about, and he already modeled that, so.
Does he know SolidWorks now?
No, this is like the actual owner.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah, 60%.
Well, the spiral shouldn't be too hard, other than you have to know how big the spiral, like, has to be apart at each spot for it to work correctly, so it doesn't collide.
Wow, I can't, yeah.
Torrance has a pole.
Oh. Oh, that good,
You
Diego.
just,
Oh.
he
Still
ran and
keeps
got
helping.
us candy.
Oh, that's true.
He did, yeah.
Okay,
Made him walk
So-
to Rosars and everything.
sorry, I didn't mean to throw you under the bus there. but-
Oh.
It was fun.
I mean, yours probably has a handle on it, I just don't know why it wasn't showing up. Okay, but see the little pole thingy? So then when the pole gets to here, look at that little garage door opening up.
There's a little bit of light there.
Well, I mean, it's not a fluid thing.
Does it actually like go around the curve, or does it just dissolve as it goes up?
I guess we'll find out.
Because hers went around the curve, but his doesn't look like it's doing it as much.
I guess we'll find out.
I guess we'll find out.
Yeah, so that's why you have to research, because technically I looked and Torrendale is different than Andrew. So, but they both worked. They both worked.
So, you know, like the sweep and the extrude work exactly the same.
No. Nope.
Favorites, I see. Yeah.
Okay, does this kind of make sense for what we're doing? So again, the geometry of these don't really matter to me that much, okay? It's again the parameters and to make things work and to have them look cool, okay? Like the actual funness of them looking good. Make sense? Okay, so we can start on some of these. I just want you guys to like start with a lot of the modeling stuff, get that in. What's the first thing you should start with though? What's the first thing you should start with?
We need
Reference
Reference planes.
Reference
I build those
planes.
afterwards, after I know what it looks like.
Can you put upload the family, because there's a different family types? Is that what that
Oh,
is?
yeah, yeah, templates, the different template types, yeah.
Yeah.
But you can start with the generic model, the bike rack.
Yeah.
Start with the bike rack.
That's easy.
Cause yeah, that one's easy.
And we can use the same one that we've been using. for-
Yeah, generic model, yep. Generic model, start on the bike rack, and then I'll find those other Revit templates, the face-based one and the wall-based one. If you're on your laptop, you should be able to have them. You're on your laptop, right?
Today.
Oh.
Got lazy, didn't want to carry it.
Yes.
Another question for you, this is off topic. Did you ever get those files?
You never sent me an email to remind me.
Oh, yeah,
So I
sorry.
was like, hey, remind me, I'll go do that.
Yeah, no, I
And
completely
you
forgot.
So when you forget, I forget.
Yeah, I know, so I'll send you
Yeah,
one.
send me another email, not like now, because then obviously it's now. But send me an
You
email
know, I'll
when
just
you want it.
exactly.
Like five times,
Yeah,
five
Scroll
peaks.
up.
ask again, and I was like,
Say that again?
Will you scroll up to the bike rack?
Yeah.
Oh, let me post it, sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry.
That's what I was.
I just like to go through it before I post it.
So people don't start making the TV ahead of time before you let them. Yeah, I get it. It makes sense. Some of those students just can't
Yeah.
Yeah.
get around them.
Uh-huh.
Oh. Then I'll go to YouTube like you say.
Okay, assignment number 3 is now published.
Forward, Kyle. That's why I know the city. Damn it. I got it down by now.
for how many months?
4 humps. 3 humps will go. I was gonna start going into that song, or that, you know, what was producing Jasmine. Fergie sang it, yeah. But I decided not to.
Just
It
to
wasn't
say, I wonder if the
time.
price matters, you just need an instant parameter.
Well, I mean, it matters, so I can change it. So you wanna make sure that it's set to the right spot, but you don't want, like, your diameter can be whatever it is now, and then like adjust it, if you're starting from your original one. Or you can, just make it whatever, you know, go from like 2 inches to 2.5 inches, 3 inches to 4, whatever. Not even 4 inches is a lot, so. Just as long as the instance parameter is there, you can type in 3 and like all your things. So, about that, I forgot to mention one piece about that real quick. Okay, these little guys right here directly coincide with what's going on right here. So these are wider, so they need to stay wider when you make that
So
one.
you got a lock from that one.
I don't know, maybe.
Which ones?
I know what you're
Sorry.
trying
Say that again?
No, you say that. Which ones stay the same?
This pipe directly coincides with this pipe. So when this pipe gets larger, that pipe has to get larger. Well, you know, the plate, the
Okay.
diameter of
Oh, it has to
needs-
get to, oh, well,
Because
yeah.
when
So you
your
gotta
pipe
lock
gets bigger,
one-
so
Well,
your
yeah,
plate.
yeah, so it's another freaking equation. Alright.
No, it's not an equation, you just lock it so that it moves without it.
The instance parameter for height is just that you can play with the height.
Right, right. Just so
Okay.
you can play with it. Same with the pipe diameter. It's just so you can play with it. I don't really give you exact numbers,
Okay.
but you know, make them relative. Like you don't want like a 10-foot tall bike rack.
Yeah, yeah, of course.
So, of
But
course.
I mean, for an old bike, these old bikes with one giant wheel, you know.
Yeah, we need a 7-foot tall one.
Yeah, yeah.
So see, I want to be able to make one that's 7 foot tall, and then one that's 3
You
foot
gotta have
tall.
like,
Yeah.
you know, bikers,
Exactly.
they're the smartest, they can't figure out how to drive cars or bikes, so you gotta give
You
something.
know who
that
you're
can
talking
hold
about,
up.
biker, right? We rode his bike to school, like,
Oh, yeah, I know, it was direct insult. Bikes, I mean.
Okay, so I'm assuming most of you have seen these before. In here where it's generic model and then like all these different types to start from.
wait, where did you find that? Because I have never seen that
Horrible.
before.
Well, no,
Well,
like,
that's
you know,
like
if
in
you
the-
work on Revit on your home computer.
It's in the
Then
C
you have
files,
those.
right?
Where,
Yeah, yeah, it's like program data, da da da, da, it's like all up hidden. It's not on these computers though. But these are all of your Revit family templates. So see, we could start with the furniture and build off the furniture that is already set to furniture, instead of building off generic model and making furniture, okay? Each of these template files has extra parameters set to them, like manufacturer parameters. It has material parameters, heights, depths, widths. Those are all locked to type parameters, then they won't be instance parameters. You know, there's all these other things that have been set. If you do just a generic model, then you won't have any of these other parameters in your way, okay, or other views. Some of them open up automatically with, this is exterior, this is interior. Some of them open up with, like, this is your top, this is your bottom, this is the inside, outside. Okay, does that kind of make sense? Like, they already have those things built in for them. But if we're using just generic model, it gives us more freedom. Okay. So I'm gonna just get the two that we need and then load those up. So here's the wall base. Oh, see placement side. Okay, here's the wall base, so that when you're building it, you know to build it on which side of the wall. See? Then when we're doing here, I can go open. Here. So this is the face. There's the face right there. Now the face is on the bottom, but the face can technically be any plane. Okay? It's just you build your TV laying down.
So we already have that template, should have all that in the computer, it's not one of it.
Yeah, I'm gonna load it on D12 right now for you.
So that width that you're giving us, that inch and 14, that is not from center line to center line, is that from interior?
Sorry, sorry.
The 1 foot and 14 inch distance, is that from center line of each pipe, or is that from inside face of each tubing?
That is from here to here.
Coolio, that's
or
way.
from here to here, or from here to here.
No, yeah, okay, that was a critical thing, I didn't want to try to make that.
Yeah, whichever one you do, keep it
20 years,
consistent.
and I know
Like, you
where
don't
you're
wanna
going.
have one from here to there.
I'm already like,
Okay, keep it consistent, whichever one you pick.
No, I'll keep it super consistent on center line, that's fine.
Are you sure?
Yeah, I just didn't want to make sure we had to go from like the outside of the pipe to outside of the
And
pipe.
also another thing you'll notice about this bike rack, it has to be accordion style this way. Okay, it's not gonna be like our cabinet where it does this.
Accordion from the center. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we gotta make equal.
Maybe,
And we need several dimensions.
quite possibly,
Yeah, work in the same time.
maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why do we even have a teacher, guys?
So she
You guys
told
were
me-
told